So this atom has a dent in it. How the atom got hail damage? That's beyond me.
Dude, hail damage, dude. Dude, you know what else is hail damage? We used to call when you'd see people in like booty shorts and all the cellulite crinkles. It's like, they got that hail damage going on. We used to,
They got hail damage on their ass.
Yeah, that's a common thing. You don't do enough
Ass
squats.
damage?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Hail damage in the butt. It's from all the gay times.
No, it's not. Why'd you put the camera on you after you said that?
Extending invitations. So, what do you want to talk about?
I don't know, man. We don't really have anything on the table. We didn't prepare for this episode very well because I had a loss in the family and I had a lot of things going on that needed to be taken care of before I was able to show up here. But we have a few hours to kill, so figured I'd show up and put out an episode for everybody. But we did not prepare for anything this episode because of my tribulations.
Yeah. Let me ask you something, Evan.
Yeah, ask away, brother.
Have you ever heard of people when they talk about how they don't know who they are?
They don't
like finding your purpose, your identity. What makes you you?
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Do you ever ask yourself these questions?
I think it's important for everybody to ask these questions to themselves. Yeah, I do.
Anything else? I just figured I'd ask you.
I once did it and took allegedly a psychedelic substance and tried to find myself in the ether of the universe. Instead, I ended up talking to aliens that I thought were there.
Yeah, back in your younger days.
Oh, yeah, I think I was like 18, 19.
So this is back like when the hippie movement was going, right?
Or my hippie movement.
Because I'm pretty sure
I was born in 1942,
yeah,
dude. I'm a Benjamin Button type of man. I'm actually 64 years old, brother.
Oh, yeah. No, the reason I even bring it up. So the reason I even bring that up is because, one, we've talked about it once before. Briefly. I don't think we've ever like isolated it, like talking about it.
About finding yourself and knowing who you are?
Yeah. I don't think we have. No.
I know we haven't.
Yeah. Well, it comes up all the time. I keep hearing people talk about it. I see posts about it. I think one of the most detrimental things to our society at this point is because there's the whole notion. It's not even notion. It's the narrative. It's the movement behind it. Over the past, like, I guess it started like 20 years ago. Like really, like that's when it started, and then it just kept pushing forward, and now it's got like everyone's doing it. And what I'm referring to is like the whole love yourself concept. Like love you, like you before everything else. People are taking that to like the 10th degree, and it's like the average human being, everyone is inherently narcissist. It's just by definition, everyone is. But this is like, this narrative and this movement is basically making the most current generation, the newest generation of people in like their teens and going into adulthood. You want to talk about already being on, like, because everyone's inherently already a narcissist by textbook definition. But now with this movement of this whole like you, bro, it's like making it to where like everyone who's coming about to becoming an adult now, bunch of full-blown narcissists.
Yeah.
But call everyone else a narcissist every 5 seconds.
That's an interesting thought, because the underlying effect of love yourself shouldn't ever devolve into a concept of narcissism. I think that it has been, it's a fair point that you're making. I think it has been divulged into a self-masturbatory concept, right? Where I am the best. I need to be worrying about myself. Nobody else matters. Me. That is what our world has devolved into because of because of the self proclamations of I am great, I am the best, right? Which is
Yeah.
good. I do think self affirmation and trying to positively influence yourself is a good thing, but there is a limit to where it is detrimental to the others around you. It is very important to understand that you're not doing this life alone. Even if you are a single or uh, solitary individual, you still have to deal with individuals in your life to go to the gas station, go to the restaurants, uh, find
Yeah.
making yourself the first person character in a world of solidarity is negative impact.
Yeah, because it's like that's just what's happening, and then people are taking it and they're contorting it.
Yeah.
Like when I say they're contorting it, it's just more of the movement's got so much oomph behind it that everyone's hyper focusing on that concept, and now it's getting. I feel like it's being misplaced, like heavily within everyone on a psychological level.
I was
Like on a
guilty of
realm.
it.
Yeah, I think everyone was. I was guilty of it too at one
Yeah.
point.
Whenever I was a young man, I took a philosophy class because I was in college and I was studying to do engineering, and I was taking philosophy classes on the side to try to broaden my horizons, broaden my knowledge. And I took a logic class, and the professor in there was telling everybody that they are nothing, that they need to understand that they are nothing,
Yeah.
that they need to become something. And I got mad. I actually left the class and probably never came back
Pussy.
because I
I could
because
help it.
I got pushed in a narrative that I am more important than everybody in the classroom. I was more important than the professor even, and I was the age of like 18 or something.
Mhm.
So once I got past that sort of mentality, that well, wait, why did you bring this up? You son of a bitch.
This is a self-help session for you, my friend. That's all it is. No, it's sorry. It popped into my head.
That's good. It's a good topic.
It popped into my fucking head. And so I said, fuck it. If it's on my mind, I'm just going to say it
As you should.
because it's there. And I don't think I was as far off as you, like how you just described your event that took place that kind of shifted to where you like stopped doing it,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
that one moment that was the profound moment that made the impact. I think for me is that I realized that one, I'll just straight up say I know why I ended up digressing and then like stopping myself because I realized as I became an adult and I was in the adult world doing adult things, starting a family, all this stuff. I realized that I used to think I was like only good at one or two things. Right? Like I thought that was like my natural go-to place. Like these one or two things were something I naturally had talent in, and then that was it. But and then as an adult, I realized that pretty much I'm actually really good at doing a lot of things if I just buckle down and do it
Mm-hmm.
and focus on it. And then like I end up hyper focusing on it, and the next thing I know, I end up doing it faster than other people. Right? I realized that. And so I was like, fuck, I'm going to do anything I fucking want to do. And I just start digging into shit. And anything I would dig into, I would just excel past the people around me who were in, my environment at the time. But then I realized one day, and I don't even remember what moment it was, I just like woke up one morning and I realized that I was by me just being like, no, get the fuck out of my way. I'm going to take over this shit. Like I'm going to, kick ass. I'm going to do this stuff. I realized that like I was burning bridges with people around me. And when I say burning bridges, not saying like trust, things like that. It's more of I was being detrimental to those who struggle a little bit more in certain areas. And I realized that it was actually affecting a lot of, people close to me, because it was like kind of belittling them in a
Mm-hmm.
way. Because even though I wasn't like, haha, I'm better than you, I never did that. It was just more of choosing when, like, knowing how to actually being humble across a broad scale. Now, don't get me wrong, I still have certain mentalities that it's just like, no, there's a line. It's like, if you're just not good at something, you're just not fucking good at something. And if you're not good at it, don't be trying to put your name in the same bucket as everybody else. A lot of people tend to do that, even though they suck at it, and they're not going to get any better because they just don't have the skill. They just don't have the talent or the cognitive ability to really push past a certain level. Which everyone's like that. There are certain, there's things that you get capped out on, like just naturally. Like your brain can't grasp it to improve it more,
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just like you still have people who do that. And at that point, if they still keep choosing to put their name in the bucket, my mentality is like, okay, well, then you're fair game. You want to put yourself in the same competition bucket as me, then I'm going to keep competing with you.
Oh, I see. I see.
But when someone's not doing that, they understand their their limitations and stuff like that. I the only time I ever become like pompous and just like, no, I'm going to fucking kick ass. I'm a winner. I'm going to fucking rule this shit is only when, one, I'm with other people who are like that, but then two, if there's stakes involved, right? Not beef steaks, bro. Talking
Hey.
about actual like things at risk.
You're not looking at a coulette steak or
Yeah,
a
like
filet
work
mignon.
in like my job.
Mhm.
It's like, no, I don't have room for that. This is how I make a living, so I'm gonna kick ass no matter what.
Fucking right.
Don't get me wrong. You gotta have a balance where you don't want to like belittle people around you. But if other people are there in that same environment and they're choosing to be there and they know who you are and they're going to put their name in that same bucket and try to compete with you, it's like, okay, then fucking fair game, bro. Like, you're going to compete with me, then I'm going to fucking run your ass into the ground. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
Because I'm naturally a competitive person, so I do that in my head. But I'm saying across all avenues, I just realized I was being detrimental to some people, and I didn't like that.
So that's where you and I differ. I'm not a competitive style individual. I am more of a get even and revenge and show you why I'm better. When it comes to competitiveness, may the best man win, and it may not be me, and that's perfectly fine. I don't really care. I will show you why I am better than you through actions and efforts and effort put into something.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily going to be dedicated toward this guy thinks he's better than me. Fuck that. He may think he's better than me. It may not be true.
Yeah. It's weird because I'm like naturally competitive, like competitive mindset, but there is a like a split though, because it's like I get competitive for sure, without a doubt, tenfold, but the person I'm actually competing with in my head is me. I'm always competing with myself every day. So it's like, and the reason I say that is because since I'm already competing with myself, which is the ultimate, chess match,
Mm-hmm.
because at the end of the day, all these other people are going to go home to their different homes. They're not in your life. Like when you rest your head at night, the only person who's going to be there with you is you in your own fucking head. So you're always having to compete with yourself. Because that's how you that's how you maintain your disciplines. That's how you always do better the next day, because you're actually competing with yourself every day to make sure you're doing X, Y, and Z. So it's like when other people start putting their name in that same bucket as me, and I'm gonna go mode because I'm competing with myself, and all of a sudden someone else is coming in here too. It's like, all right, well now I have no room for error because you're deciding to compete right now. You're gonna put your name in this bucket. I already have a huge competitor, and you're showing some type of gumption, like you're trying to make a mark on my territory in here. Okay, heat's on, bitch. Let's
Hell
go,
yeah, brother.
That's how my mind goes. That's how I am at work.
Gotcha.
It's like, no, there's a reason I do what I do. I'm better than you. Get the fuck out of my way. Like, if someone tries to intervene in that regard, right? Like, if they try to intervene and like put a roadblock in front of me, it's like, no. I'm not. No. Get the fuck out of my way.
It sounds like you're more of like the arrogant killer, where somebody may be the silent killer, if you will. So you'll be the individual who's like, I know what I'm doing. Don't need to talk to me. Get out of my way. If I don't know how to do it, I'm gonna figure it out.
And if I don't, I'm also humble enough that I'll go and ask other people.
Absolutely.
If I don't know, I'll own it.
Yeah.
Because that's how you get better. Because that's like, that just shows me, okay, I have a weak spot. Because since I don't know this, well, then I have no stake in the game since I don't know it. And if I don't have time to research it or learn it, then it's like, okay, let's go talk to someone who does know.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be someone who's a peer to me. I don't give a shit. I'll go ask them. In that regard, I'll drop any kind of ego I have, whatever. I don't care. That's how I'm going to get better. I'm going to go ask.
Oh, I've lost my ego many years ago. My ego has been lost to the wind because
Oh, you got it still, bro.
Oh,
It's still there.
I got my ego in there.
Oh, it's still there. It's there. It's just, I don't think it's like some people have like the ego, egotistical side of them can be very, detrimental and to themselves and those around them. And then no one wants to deal with someone who's a douchebag. You know what I mean? Because if you become egotistical, then you're a douche most of the time, right? Stereotypical label.
I mean, look at Kanye.
I'm a genius.
Ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, you should bring your mic a little closer, though.
My mic is fine, Ben. Right where it's at.
Yeah. I don't know how close it actually is.
It's pretty fucking close to my face.
Okay. I was just making sure we're at the same distance because I don't want to be like overbearing.
You have new headphones on that sound different. So
it does. So I can't tell how loud I really am being right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's just like, no, like you still have an ego, bro. It comes out in certain areas, but it's not like a negative thing. It's not like a detriment type of level. It's just more of like everyone has it no matter what.
Oh yeah. Well, I say I have lost my ego in terms of what people care about me, because I will absolutely go ask for help if I don't know what I'm doing. Because intrinsically, I want to be better. Like I want to be better than the next person. I want to be better than I was yesterday. I want to be better. I want to be better. It's just that's the ultimate goal: is always evolving, always growing. That's why I got a tattoo of the Ouroboros snake on me, because constant change.
I thought that was for sex time.
It's constant change through repetition. You want to always be better, always growing, right?
Yeah.
So in that mindset, I'm not afraid of asking for help or assistance or doing something with somebody else, because intrinsically I will become better.
Yeah. Sorry, I
Ben,
leaned around.
You gotta
like
stop burping on the mic, dude.
Sorry, bro. The reason I leaned around like that is just because
you're worried about the mic so much.
The angle of your mic, it looks like it's like 2 fists away.
Yeah,
from
yours
your
looks like
face.
you're about a whole head's length away from my angle. So.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm like, I can't.
I could kiss this.
I can't put a fist between it.
I could kiss this thing if I tried.
Put a fist between it. No, where your face is right now. Okay, so it's the same distance as me. Okay, gotcha. It's just my headphones are a bit weird. Okay, makes sense.
That's his ego coming out, boys and girls. You haven't seen an ego before the size of a fucking apple.
It's bigger
sure
than
an
put a
apple,
fist in
dude.
there now.
No, you can't.
Oh, that sounded even better. I think it's because it's not tilted up enough. See, now you were the same volume as me when you tilted it up.
Oh, eat my big booty duty, dude.
My booty duty. Nice. So yeah, the ego.
The ego.
The ego.
I mean, so you started the conversation with, have you ever had the thought of, what was it? Me, myself, and I trying to be better, right? Me.
No, it was more of like the whole identity. Like, what is my identity? Who am I? Because I keep hearing that all the time, and it's like, no, you know who you are. You're just one. I think people are mislabeling what an identity is versus like, and mixing it up. Sorry, not versus, but mixing it up with a label for a particular thing.
Well, then for the listeners listening, tell them what an identity is.
Identity, one, in layman's terms, right? Simplistic. I'll keep it kind of just to the point so it lands. Anything you do. So let's say you choose not to make your bed. Let's say you're someone who chooses to be a pathological liar. Let's say you're someone who chooses to, sleep in when you know you should get up and be productive because you have things you have to get done, and that's why you're always behind. Well, that's who you are. It's that simple. Now, if you don't like hearing that, you don't like hearing it. But that's ultimately, at the end of the day, a lot of people want to have an identity of like, who are you? Well, I'm an influencer. No, that's a role. That's not who you are. Who are you? Who are you, like in the ether? Who are you? And your ether is your brain inside there. Okay, if you're someone who has the label of an influencer, okay, then you're an attention seeker.
Intention or
attention seeker?
Gotcha.
There you go. Now someone will. I'm sure by me saying that, someone's gonna go, oh, I'm not an attention seeker. I'm wanting to help people. I want to influence people and help people. You could do that a million different ways, but you're doing it in a way that benefits you to where you get attention. That's the heart. That's the underlying layers. Now, whether you choose to accept that or not, that's on you. That's your issue. But you are an attention seeker. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to want attention. It's not a bad thing to want attention as your main role in your
Put
life.
the camera on me. I want the attention right now. Everybody look at me. No.
Oh, there you go. Oh, look at that. Son of a bitch.
I'm back, baby. But I mean, that you can take the camera back.
Oh, fuck. But no, it's that simple. It really is that simple. And I know everyone wants to peel back layers and like get all nitty gritty because they want some finite thing. It's like, that is finite enough. That is what it is. Bare line principle. That's it. Like, whether you choose to accept it is completely up to you. You know, that's just an example though, like saying the influencer part. Or like, for instance, what I like to ask people is, I like to put an analogy.
Ooh, ask me the analogy. Do to me.
Okay. Let's say you're in there's no rule of law. Government's collapsed, apocalyptic situation.
Okay.
Right? Let's say you're in your own little community, a little group of survivors. And
I'm killing the first person I see and I'm eating them because cannibalistic is the only way to survive.
Yes.
No.
I've seen Old Yeller. Wait. Oh, that's the wrong movie.
Old Yeller, isn't that the dog that eats people? Wait a minute. I'm thinking about Jaws, dude.
I was
That's a
thinking
shark,
more,
brother.
my brain just immediately went to the killer rabbit.
On
on
Monty
Holy
Python.
Monty Python, the Holy Grail. Look at the bones. And then he's just like,
It's just a little rabbit. I'll go over there and cut its head
what
off.
can we call you? You can call me Tim. Like, what? I love Monty Python.
That's so good.
It's
All of
great.
them.
It's great. Man, you made me lose my track.
The question about
yeah, you're in
apocalypse.
factions. Let's say there's all these little groups of survivors everywhere, right? But there's no rule of law. There's no government. Free reign. So now, because society's collapsed, the reason I'm putting this analogy is because when there's no rule of law or someone looking over their shoulder at you in some big, like some large entity, which is what is ingrained in all of us, right? Like, oh, you can't do that. It's wrong. And a lot of people don't do it, mainly just due to the fact because they're worried of getting in trouble, right? A good chunk of people do that. This right here, the reason I lay it out in this apocalyptic type situation where there's no rule of law, nothing, and it's just bands of survivors and little bitty groups and factions just mixed in. They could be 10 miles apart, 20 miles apart, whatever. Is because that's when the real who you are really will come out. Instinctually, naturally, because of the environment. So now you're having to operate off of your actual compass mentally of who you are.
Okay.
So with that being said, let me lay this out. Let's say that you have a person that was a part of your group, right? He was just another person who was found, right? You guys welcomed him in. And let's say the person raped someone. He was a very bad person. And he decided to like rape or attempt to rape someone, assault, but you guys stopped it just in time. You know, so they couldn't actually go through with the rape. What would you do with that person? Because I'm going to lay out a couple of things to consider before you answer. One, you let him go. But if you let him go, well, he knows where you guys are. What if he's mad because you just kicked him out? Now he has nothing vindictive. That's a possibility. So what if he hooks up with another faction? There's a potential he could hook up with someone else. And maybe that group doesn't like your group. Or that group just doesn't care about any other group. So it's like, you know, maybe they get a little violent. You know, they potentially would attack you guys, your little group, your community. There's that narrative. That could play out that way. The other one is lock them up. You just lock them up. But that requires you now have to feed them. You know,
Clean them, water
clean them,
them.
make sure the things are in place. And also a reminder of the community that, hey, look, we have this horrible person we're going to keep still under the same roofs as all of you. So there's that. And then there's the other one. I mean, there's many different options, ways this could play out, right? The other one is, let's say you choose to execute the person, right? Whatever. So that's the scenario I'm laying out. What would you do if you had someone of that nature? What would be your, and it's not something,
So
because remember, you're in a situation where you don't have to sit there and convene with other people. There's no rule of
rules.
law. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
And this guy can go rape however
And
he
you care
wants,
about
right?
the community. What the fuck are you going to do?
If I'm in charge and it's my choice, he's probably gonna die. I'm probably gonna kill him because my community needs to survive over everybody else. They need to live peacefully and be able to continue on their life and protect their own in their own right.
Mhm.
But that also asks the question: what does he do for the community? Is he an engineer? Does he know how to build things?
Mhm.
Does he know how to farm? Does he know how to purify water and all these things? Is he useful to the community? If he's useful, that'll add a different stigma to the am I going to kill him or not?
Yeah.
If he's useful, then he'll become a prisoner, a slave, to where he doesn't do anything but work and he's under watch at all times.
Yeah.
He'd probably get fed scraps and live a horrible, disgusting life, only to work for us. And once he stops working, then we will kill him. But ultimately, it is a rule of if I'm in charge, I'm setting the rules. And I don't think rape's okay. I don't think anybody should be doing that.
Yeah.
So that may just come from a societal mindset that I have been raised with, but that person shouldn't exist ever.
Mm-hmm. But also, someone who chooses to rape shows who they are, though. It shows also other layers to their head, how their head operates. It means that there's someone, if they want something, they're just going to take it.
Absolutely.
Which means they have no care or moral compass that would align with, you know, anything with you or shit, probably most of the other people in that community. So now you know that this person is not just a rapist, but also a transgressor. And then will also plays out to being, you know, because you can apply the what's behind that motive to almost everything.
Well,
because that's how they would handle almost anything.
That's
It's all
why-
about them.
That's why my initial response is to kill him.
Yep.
He needs to be gone. He needs to be gone. We can't have that in our society. Can't have that in general. That's not okay. But then it also brings up the question, as I mentioned earlier, depends on how useful he is to us. If he's just some schmuck who's eating food and doing nothing but sitting around and complaining all day, drinking our water, eating our food, and then he decides to outlash in his own horrific manner,
Mm-hmm.
may it be beating a child, may it be poisoning our crops, something of that nature,
Mm-hmm.
they got to go. But if he's somebody of intrinsic and really useful mobility and job, like I keep saying, engineer, something of that nature, or maybe a medicinal person,
Mm-hmm.
that would change the argument a little bit, in my opinion.
Yeah. Normally when I ask these questions, like you gave a response, which is totally fine. But most of the time when I put this narrative to people, I always tell them, don't answer it. Don't tell me what you would do.
Whoops.
No. It was fine for the podcast for you to answer it, and I was hoping you would. But ultimately, when I do run this role playing type situation with the person, I always tell them, don't tell me what your answer is. I was like, you know your answer. Now you know who you are, because that also applies to a lot of other areas of your life. What's behind it? I was like, and you know it because you know yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, and it's that simple. Now, you may not like that answer that I give you by me saying that, right? I always tell that to, there's been a few close friends of mine that I've done this with. And I've always told them, I was like, you may not like that. And you may tell yourself something different in your head, but only you know the truth. And the truth is always going to be in the back of your head. I was like, so you could tell me one thing, like, for instance, how you just gave an answer. That says, it seems like you're being very transparent. A few different options. But at the same time, the average person would fluff a little bit what they're saying outwards because they're sitting with someone that they don't want to put a different narrative in front of, because people instinctually do that.
I wouldn't even waste a bullet on the guy.
Yeah.
He'd be He'd be dead.
I already know what I would do.
Be a fucking knife to the back of the head.
And
Boom,
people are
bye-bye.
yeah, people would think very odd of me for saying this. But I would, if we caught the man, like in the moment we caught the man, I know exactly what I would do without hesitation. Notice I would drag him out in front of everyone. I would string him up and I would fillet him slowly, in front of everyone, children, everything, to send a fucking message. No, I don't give a fuck what their role is. I'll figure that part out later.
Fillet him?
I would fillet him.
Good
slowly.
Lord.
Yep, and I would start with the areas that wouldn't kill him immediately. I already know I would. Like without a doubt. Not even second guess. It's like, oh yeah, I know what I do. And I would say that's what I would do to send a message to everyone else in the community. Because you also have to, what I do instinctually in my head in that scenario is how many other people are like this? Because this guy was never a problem before. I thought he was someone who wouldn't do that. Right?
Mm-hmm.
How many other fucking predators are hiding amongst us in the community? I better send a fucking message to them of what will happen to anyone who decides to do that.
They used to do that in society.
Yeah. People behaved themselves then, too.
Yes, they did.
But it's like, it's inhumane. No, fuck. The whole inhumane part that people like to push is like, who cares if it's inhumane? They were doing inhumane things.
Yeah,
the punishment is an inhumane result.
They were causing a trauma on somebody else in an inhumane manner to inflict their own enjoyment. Why should they exist any longer? And why should they have to have a humane death? I mean,
Yeah.
you may have just swayed me a little bit in that regard to say how you would do it. I don't think I have the killer in me to slowly and mercilessly kill somebody. I think it'd be more of like a one and done sort of bang.
Are you calling me a murderer?
Killer? Well, I mean, you said you would flay him slowly.
I would. I already know this about myself. It's all right.
And I know that about myself. I don't think I have the barbarian in me, the Tartarian, if you will, too.
I just
do such
noticed
a
with
thing.
with people of that nature though, like there's a different side of me that comes out though. I realize there's a switch that happens mentally when I deal like in any type of narrative where that's a thing where you're dealing with a predator of that nature.
Well, then, what's the psychological impact on you as well from killing another human, taking their life slowly? It's not like you just killed a deer.
It wouldn't. I already know it wouldn't bother me because I know what I killed. That person wasn't a person.
He
was a monster.
They were definitely still a human.
No, he was a monster though.
Definitely still a
It
human.
doesn't matter. They can be a human, but people can put on masks all the time. We just took off his metaphorical mask. We saw who he really was. Yeah, he looks like us, but he's not one of us. In our group. He doesn't align with the narrative. He doesn't align with the moral convictions, the compass.
What if you're not in charge though? What if you're not the leader?
I'd still kill him.
Yeah, me too.
I'd be fine with it.
Me too.
And then they'd be like, "Who did it?" I would say it was me.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "I don't give a shit. I did the balls you didn't have to do. If you don't like it, I'll leave. I'll figure it out."
Bye.
I was like, I got no problems with you guys, but I wasn't going to rest my head underneath here knowing this bitch was still alive. I'm not going to take a chance. So, okay, you want me to leave? Cool, I'll go. Wouldn't bother me. Not one bit. I'd rather go to bed with content knowing that I just eliminated one more threat than go to bed knowing I could have done something but was too cowardly to do it. That would haunt me more than killing someone.
Yeah.
Instead of doing the right thing.
Yeah.
To me, that would be the right thing to do in the circumstance. Right?
Because ultimately, the idea of living with humanity is to protect each other and to live together, right, and to prosper.
Yeah.
That's what the underlying concept of this immediate beginning conversation is the self. Love thyself, protect thyself.
Mm-hmm.
Me. That's not what humanity's about. We are inherently a group civilization. We all need to be together at all times. If you are ostracized from society, you begin to lose your mind and talk to inanimate objects because you need socialization.
Yeah.
So we need to be together. If you are a me person, you're going to be looked upon as a crazy individual, a weirdo,
Yeah.
because as I keep harping back on, we need to be together. Uh, so
Yeah.
I think the idea of everybody wanting to love themselves is inherently good. But the detriment to it is that it's gone too far to where it is, as you mentioned before, a narcissistic and masturbatory mindset nowadays, to where nobody wants to have a family, nobody wants to grow, nobody wants to continue, nobody wants anything but themselves. And that is where we fall into a repeated cycle of me. And that's bad. It needs to be us, us, us.
Yeah, without a doubt. And it's like a whole just since you brought up the whole love yourself thing, brought us back to that. It's one of those deals where it's like, okay, if you're gonna love yourself, and things, like it's gone too far at this point where that's priority number one above all else. I see people doing that who have kids, little kids. You can't do that. If you want to have a healthy kid mentally, they need nurturement. So at the end of the day, yeah, love yourself for, on that one narrative. But if you're someone who has children, people who depend on you, no, like those children have to be raised. They have to have proper emotional nourishment.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think the self-love disadvantage is more than just forgetting about other people's needs? Does it create a society based around like the NPC movement to where
No, I think it was part of the 4 stages of ideological subversion.
Absolutely, I agree with that entirely.
That's what I think it was a part of.
Yeah.
Because that whole love yourself thing was birthed out of the hippie moment.
Isn't it wild that our conversations here at Smartly Uneducated keep going back to Yuri Bezmenov? In my day-to-day life as well, I notice it around individuals, and I keep bringing it up to them as well because they'll talk to me about something, and I'm like, you have just been subverted. They have indoctrinated you into a mindset of the wrong concept entirely. So I'm glad that over here we can try to open people's mind to a way of thinking of bringing people together instead.
Yeah, it's really weird because I'm gonna jump into the whole turning point thing because like, you already said like what you went through. You had that pinnacle moment, and I started to describe when I had mine. But one of the things that goes with it is understanding, and you kind of touched on it because I know we've talked about it before, but you kind of touched on it for a second or mentioned it. It's like no one's special. Like everyone wants to be special. Everyone wants to be something of some status, mainly because of how our society has evolved, and we have these platforms for people to be on and pedestals for them to stand on, like celebrities, politicians, people who athletes, like whatever. And everyone is like chasing that. It's like they're trying to be this status, but they're not that status. And those people who are in that status, well, they're in that status. Whether or not they got there because they are actually that damn good, or they made some deals along the way to put them there, put themselves there. And, whatever. Because we all know people have done that. Celebrities, politicians, especially politicians. They'll make deals along the way to get them to some high level profile. It's because they're all corrupt pieces of shit.
I'm over here chuckling because that is leading toward in the year that we're in now, 2024, what we're dealing with in a political mindset in its own right.
Yeah.
The subversion of one party is better than the other. One party has been indoctrinated and has indoctrinated you to believe that they are right. May it be the left, may it be the right. There is an underlying goal of look at me, don't look at anybody else. Me.
Yeah.
Look at me, because I'm better than that person.
Yep. That's exactly what everyone's doing. And I just to touch on what I was just saying, what did me the most help was coming to terms with I am nothing. Like literally that placement is that you are nothing. Like you, in the grand scheme of things, you're literally dust on the crack of the, ass crack of the universe. You are,
Yeah, you are.
and like the whole narrative, like once I really accepted the mental change of like, there's nothing special about me. There's nothing special about you. There are these moments that people can have where they do something really cool, really awesome. That's definitely next tier. But that doesn't necessarily make them special.
No, it does
They
not.
may have been they may be really good at this one thing, but look at every other avenue of their life. It may, in the public eye, look like X, Y, and Z, some, great, grandioso, they're a special person. But then all of a sudden, you actually are able to see behind their curtain that they keep up, and you're able to see what goes on inside their head and the other avenues of their life. And you're like, oh, shit, they're not special. It's a fucking dumpster fire everywhere else. No, it's like no one's special. I'm sick of everyone saying that they're special and all this stuff. It's like, no, you're not. No one is.
Well,
Because when you die, 100 years from now, thousands of years from now, you rot just like everybody else, every other living fucking thing.
I agree with you that nobody is special. The movement was pushed into our society probably in the 80s, I would like to think, because I know growing up, my brother, myself, winning participation trophies because we got last place or in something, and they're like, yeah, you still tried. You didn't try hard enough. So that mindset has been pushed in our society so far that people believe doing the bare minimum is okay.
Yep.
And you deserve every best outcome because you did the bare minimum.
Yeah. It's like I have a good example. There's a this is a good example to go with what you're saying.
But I want
sorry.
I wanted to give an example of somebody who was in that lifestyle of me, and then decided to transfer their entire life into doing something better. It's the machine gun preacher, Sam Childers, who was a Hell's Angel biker, gang member, drug dealer, and decided to drop everything he did to go fight oppression in Africa and kill drug cartel leaders and drug members in hopes of
Hell yeah.
bringing up children in that country to a higher standard. So he's, for the past, I think it's 40 years, has been getting children out of murderous gangs and bringing water and food to these countries just because he thinks it's the right thing to do.
That's what's up.
It's badass. He is a badass. He still has his handlebar mustache, still rides bikes, and he's out there in Africa with machine guns and
That's what's up.
and protecting children. It's
I like
awesome.
that guy.
It's awesome.
I like that guy a lot now.
Yeah.
I never even heard of that guy until you just mentioned him.
Yeah, Sam
Or-
Childers is awesome. He made me cry one day. I listened to an interview with him, and he always he preaches the mindset of never give up and push your hardest because something will happen for you. Just keep
Yeah.
going, keep pushing.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful concept.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I don't even remember what I was about to say.
Sorry.
Oh, that's what it was. So I have a good example. Is like, so I'm gonna leave names out just because I don't want to throw that out there into the ether. But basically, I had a gentleman that was struggling, right? And then he started doing better. And by better, it was just doing the bare minimum.
Hmm.
And this person kept coming to me for affirmation of, hey, like, yeah, I'm kicking ass now. And and this person had been staying consistent, doing the bare minimum for about a week and a half, 2 weeks tops. And I was very transparent. And I just said, do you want a cookie or something? You're doing the bare minimum. I'm not going to, you want rewards for doing the bare minimum? No. I literally told him this. I was like, no, that's dumb. I was like, yes, you've shifted to where you're actually getting onto the right track. That's already known. I was like, but you're wanting praise and reward for doing the bare minimum requirements, and you're an adult. You've been an adult now for over 12 years. Like, I have nothing to give you. Like, and that's basically literally what I told him. Like, I was very cold turkey about it because I don't believe in doing like, like giving them praise for doing the bare minimum. It's like, no, like you already knew how to do the bare minimum and you just got yourself back to finally doing it again. None of this means shit.
Push harder. Go to the next stage.
Yeah, go to the next stage. Like up the ante. Stop. You're trying to do the bare minimum, and that's what you're doing through all the other avenues of your life too. That's also why you're in this predicament because you're always just trying to only do the bare minimum at all times, whether or not even when it's whether or not it's beneficial for you or not. It doesn't matter what the narrative is. No matter what, you're only going to do the bare minimum. Well, I have nothing to give you on that. Like, it's like, no, like, doing the bare minimum, and I'm talking about riding the line on doing the bare minimum, like barely achieving that. You don't get praise for that. I'm not going to give you a trophy, a metaphorical trophy, to your face and be like, oh yeah, look at you go, man. Thanks for showing up on time today. Or showing up, or it could also be like, oh, hey, thanks for, making sure to
Thank
make
you
dinner
for doing
on
your
time
laundry
for yourself.
Yeah.
So you're not making dinner at fucking midnight and getting 2-3 hours of sleep or something. It's like, no, like it's ridiculous at that point.
Well, there's a lot of things that have been pushed in front of us so that we are docile individuals, so that we are not wanting to do more. There are things that are distractions in your life: cell phones, YouTube, Netflix, TV, video games are things that are meant to make you feel like you have just accomplished something fast.
Yeah.
Once you are able to put those things aside and continue on to try harder things that may take more time, but once you finish these tasks, you feel more accomplished. You intrinsically, I keep going back to the word intrinsically, but you don't want to do those because they take longer.
Yeah.
Watching a YouTube video that's 15 minutes long about the quick breakdown on how motorcycle engines work, you're like, I just learned something. Bitch, no, you didn't.
No.
Go,
not even a little bit.
Go try to fix the engine. Go change your spark plugs. Go change your timing belt, and then you have just learned something.
Yeah.
So, in that mindset of the bare minimum, society has raised us to stay docile, and we keep harping back to the Skull and Bone Society and Rockefeller. That was the entire idea: is to just keep you in a bottle so that you don't look outside of that, or a glass box so that you don't look past your walls. You see what's in front of you, you see what's easy, you do the easy, and then you expect praise.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's also the what was it? It kind of is like, it plays right into everything we're talking about, is an echo chamber, right?
Yeah, brother.
And I'm not talking about echo chamber of people, like how you have people who are left leaning or right leaning and they only associate and stay within those little think bubbles because it's their own little echo chamber. I'm not talking about on society. I'm talking about on a personal level for yourself. You also create your own echo chamber in your head because this is all you want to hear, because you're also living in denial, because you don't want to face the truths. You know deep down, you know the lies that you say to yourself, and you're choosing to try to manipulate it in your own head.
So with all this,
which is a narcissistic thing to do.
It is.
Boom.
So with all of this said, I wonder if there's a way that we can tell people now how to get past this.
I do.
Please.
Your life is a lie. Everything about you that you have bravadoed, was that the right word for it? Out into the ether, into the public sphere of how people see you. Well, that's the problem. Because instead of how everyone says live your own truth, they're full of shit. Because what they're meaning by it is a different narrative. If you really want to live your own truth, stop lying to yourself and actually go by what you actually know about yourself. Now that is the real deal maker.
That's hard to do.
Very hard to do, because then it changes the public perception of you, and everything's about how people see you, like how you present yourself, all that bullshit. fuck everyone else. Just be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're someone who's late, acknowledge it. Don't fight it in your own fucking head. Like if you're someone who can't wake up at a certain time, okay? Acknowledge it. Don't lie about it and say, well, I have to do this and this and excuses, right?
Yeah.
No, there are some days. That's why, like, there was actually this thing, a clip I saw of David Goggins. He was talking about how, I think someone asked him about, like, how much sleep do you get a night? He said that ideally he would like to get 8 hours or something like that. But he said, but if by the time I get done with all the work that I got to get done with, and that day I'm awake, if it's 12 o'clock at night, well, my wake up time doesn't change. Well, I guess I'm only getting 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I related to that super, heavily. Mainly just due to the fact that I go to bed at midnight most of the time and I wake up at 3:30 because I have to. Like, I have to maintain a routine. So there are some nights that, yeah, I could get, maybe I fall asleep at 10 or 9:30. Awesome. But if there's still stuff to be done, whether it be within my personal home, that, if I don't do it today, it's just going to carry on for weeks because I let it go. Well, one, I just lost a battle with myself because the ultimate competitor at the end of the day is you,
Mm-hmm.
Yourself. So, well, I just lost that battle with myself. I don't want to do that because if I lose that and that becomes something that carries over, I'm going to lose every day until I finally get it done. And at that point, it's not really a win. It's just more of trying to make the slate even. It's like, no, we can't have the slate always, checking out when you run the numbers at the end of whatever. You can't have it always be to where you break even. You have to turn into a positive end. You have to get there. So it's just like, okay, well, if I don't do it, then it's just going to carry over. I just lost today, and I know that means I'm going to lose tomorrow because I'm not going to be able to get it in and fix it and get it done, whatever it was that's carrying over. I'm not going to be able to get to it tomorrow because I have the same workload as I did the day before.
Yep.
So it's like, you know what I mean? Like it sets you up to fail by not doing the main things that you need to knock out in that first day. It's going to set you up to fail the next day and the next day. And then you have to like really kick it up a notch to catch up with yourself to ultimately come out on the positive end, which is where you're winning in the competition with your own
So
self.
on average, how often do you think you're going to get 8 hours of sleep a night during the week, Ben?
Me?
Yeah.
I never get 8 hours.
So what is the
Never.
average amount of sleep that you're getting?
I would say averagely 4.5 to 5.5.
Yeah.
At the most.
I think I get about 5 to 6 most nights.
That's, we're very close in that
Yeah.
margin. That's about how much I average. I shoot for 8. I do. But sleep is weird. If sleep is something on your list to do, well, that's dumb. And the reason I say that is because, like, now granted, this is from my perspective. Everyone's got their own viewpoint. Maybe you're someone who does crazy, grueling blue-collar work, physically work out in the oil fields, wrapping those chains around the pipes.
You need 10 hours.
You need to get actual rest or your body will break. But at the same time, I know guys out there that they'll work 24 hours straight and only sleep for 5 or 6 hours. And then they're literally working 24 hours straight again, nonstop, heavy physical toll on the body, the whole freaking 24 hours.
But then they crash out.
Yeah, and then they crash out.
Yeah.
But the thing, what I was trying to get at is that, like, I realize I don't like sleep. And the reason I don't like sleep, and this is where my that's why I said made sure to say my perspective, and that's just like I want sleep, I do, but ultimately deep down I don't like sleep because when I'm asleep, I'm not living my life, I'm not experiencing my life, I'm not doing things, I'm not having moments because life is short. We only get one. So it's like, fuck, if you do the numbers, if you're sleeping 10 hours a night, like I know people who do 10 and 12 hours of sleep.
Me too.
And it's just like, you do that. Like, let's say you have kids, right? And that's your method of sleeping. So that means you're sleeping in, you're getting these long hours of sleep, and your kids are up doing whatever. And then let's say you sleep in on the weekends and you don't wake up till 1 o'clock. Well, you just missed half of a day with your kids.
Mm-hmm.
You just missed all of that. You know, and
You
that's
just
just
missed,
on the
you just
family
missed
side.
half the day of sunlight.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden what? You know, and that narrative, you can apply that to a million other things of like sleeping for long periods of time. Don't get me wrong, sleep is important.
Yes, it is.
And I think everyone should try to get the healthy amount of sleep they can.
I find myself looking for 8 hours of sleep on the days that I know I have extra time in the day. So
Yeah.
perhaps it's a day off that I give for myself, but I'll look for the 8 hours of sleep. I'm not looking for 10. I'm not looking for 12. I'm not looking for a full continuous 24 hours of sleep unless I'm ill.
And now, don't get me wrong, we should probably clarify that not everyone's the same.
Yeah.
Like, let's say you're someone, like, let's say mentally, like, let's say, like, for instance, I get very hyper-focused. So, like, my job, what I do for work, I take pride in what I do. I have a passion for my work as well. So, it's like a double-edged sword, right? So, you have the detriment of having to work 60, 70 hours, 80 hours a week. And so you're already like most of your time is going to that instead of like your family or whatever. But at the same time, you also love what you do. Like me, I love what I do. Even though I'm miserable half the time, I still love what I do. So it's just like, it's a double-edged sword because even though I want to stop, I tell myself, oh, I got to cut myself off. I'm not going to work past this point this evening, you know, because I'll go and I'll work I put in about 10 hours in the office, and then I'm putting in maybe 2 or 3 hours or maybe 4 hours, depending on what I got to do at home remotely.
Let me ask you a question. So there are individuals who, like us right now, who speak up about having a short night of sleep to be able to work longer, spend time with friends and family outside of your sleep schedule. You wake up early so that you can exercise. You wake up early so you can have a nice breakfast and coffee and start your day in how you think is a proper way. But there are people in society who ostracize that mentality, who say you shouldn't want to wake up early and go to sleep late. You should want to sleep longer. You should want to be
Having too much sleep can actually hurt your body.
devastatingly. It can cause depression. It can cause obesity. It can cause a lot of things, right?
Mhm.
So the mindset of you need to work less on things that you love, like your life, your family, your diet, your health, and become dependent on sleep and other things. We keep harping back to sleep. It can be dependent on video games. You wake up and you go straight to video games.
Yeah.
Like that mentality of waking up later so that you can enjoy video games later into the night, or you go to bed earlier so you can wake up early and do something, you know. It's the mindset of depreciating the value of a necessity.
Yeah.
So these I see it all the time on TikTok, on YouTube, on Instagram. I see it all the time. People are making fun of David Goggins or other individuals who are harping you need to have discipline.
They only do that because they don't have discipline themselves.
But I think it's more of a this goes back to my conspiracy brain. I think it's more of a subversion of paid actors or paid individuals or somebody who has been so brainwashed that they think it's important to be taken care of, that they don't need to take care of themselves any longer. Perhaps it's individuals who have been nursed by the teat until they were of age to get off their parents' insurance, and now they're like, what's happening to me? Why don't I know what I'm doing? And then they're ostracizing individuals who've been taking care of themselves since they were 20 or 18 or what have you.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree.
But well, I asked the question of why do you think that is?
I think it's because I think there's multiple things that are going into that. But I think it's really because I think ultimately a collective society, the people who are forming it, I'm talking about the people who have power, want you to be stuck in a limbo place. Because if you're in a limbo, you're not turning yourself off, but you're also not progressing. And it puts you, that individual or sets of individuals, in a place of this conformity to where you are a sheep, because you're not doing, you're basically putting yourself into a position to have someone else be the bearer for you, which is what people who have power want. They want you to depend on them, because if you don't need to depend on them, then they don't have power.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have sway over you. They can't have, influence you to do X, Y, or Z. If you're a productive person and you're someone who goes and gets it, works hard, and it never stops grinding type mentality, like of always progressing to the next best thing.
Dude, I've been seeing all types of propaganda to hate on the grind mindset, to no longer want to work hard. I'm seeing it all over the place, of people making fun of individuals who want to work hard and grind and prosper in their own life.
Yeah, and I can tell you right now that those fucking people who are doing that, whether they're paid actors or just fucking schmucks, just random fucking average Joes, people who do that, who are smearing the mindset of like, be productive, kick ass, go go go. Look at where those people end up.
Oh, they're usually nowhere.
They're nowheres.
Yeah.
The people who are grinding and go go go, they end up having an immaculate fucking life 20 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
They look back, they're like, they've been grinding since they're 18, 20 years old, and they never fucking wavered. All of a sudden, boom, they're 40, and they have a fucking empire they built for themselves. I'm not talking about necessarily a business. I'm talking about their life in general is like an empire for them. And they're happy because they have what they sought out to get. And and by doing so and building this productive environment, having an environment that is a result of productivity, of your own productivity, your own gumption. Well, now, like, let's say you have a family. Now your family is happy. There's healthiness. There's healthy mentalities going on. They never had to deal, they never, your children never have to deal with a whole litany of different things, of living in potentially poverty to, the list goes on. Like, I could harp on that.
That's why I brought up Sam Childers, because
Mhm.
he has the mindset and the dialogue of never give up. You're going to go through hardships. You're going to be depressed. You're going to be upset, but you can't stop.
Mhm.
Continue, because there's always going to be something better. It may not be greener, but it's definitely going to push you on to be better and continue grow.
Well, I can tell you right now that there are people that I've always worked with. When I say always, I'm not saying the same people. I'm saying everywhere I've ever had a job, anytime I've ever made potentially a acquaintance, like a friend, and they got to know me a little bit, there's always, mixed into every one of those lanes, I always have people that try to like talk shit. And let me explain that. I'm not saying talk shit as in like say something just negative. No, it's coming from a place of resentment. And they'll be like, well, what he does is what he does. I'm not him. It's like, and the thing is, I'm not doing anything that's going like, hey, look at me. Look what I'm doing compared to them. It's just more of, since I'm there doing what I want to do, like I'm pushing hard on myself, it ends up making other people look bad because they don't like the fact that someone is just tearing it up. Now, to the outside perspective, some people think it looks easy for me in certain things, right? Like, I've had that experience where it's like, I find out later the reason why they had the issues with me was only because they struggle to do what they're doing currently, and I was excelling. But what they failed to fucking understand is that I was struggling too. I just would not allow. Failure was not a fucking option. I had to learn this. I had to get to this point. I had to accomplish X, Y, or Z. It's like, no, that's my mentality. You have the mentality of this is fucking hard. I'm going to let these inner thoughts, but the person you compete with is your fucking self. So it's like they were letting the others, the thoughts inside their head, that were negative, that were pushing them down, that were restricting them. They allowed that part, that narrative, that conversation in their head to be at the forefront of their mind. And then and then it just makes it, then once it becomes outwards exposed, it's at the heart of it, it's just resentment, because they don't like the fact that now they're looking bad, because they're also thinking of how people perceive them, because people do that shit. And it's just like, that's a you fucking problem.
That's absolutely right.
Like,
on that note, if you have made it this far into the episode, please like, subscribe, share it to everybody you ever met.
yeah, welcome to Smartly Uneducated, everybody.
Email us your thoughts, your perceptions. If you hate us, if you love us, over at smartlyuneducated@gmail.com. That is smartlyuneducated@gmail.com.
It is a real email. Oh, dude. Dude. It just went there, dude.
Also, on that note, my eyes are turning yellow. I have to pee so bad.
I have to pee too.
Can we take a brief intermission?
We're going to go together.
We hold hands?
Listen, as long as I'm touching my piece and you're touching your piece, it's not gay.
We can't hold each other's?
We can hold each other.
All right, we'll be right back.
Anyways, we're back. Sorry about that.
Thank you for taking a break
The pee
with us.
break. The pee break.
The typical Evan and Ben pee break.
Yeah, so we were talking about the people.
No matter
resentment.
how strong you push and how much you grind, you still got to go pee, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, dude, that's another problem I have.
Put a catheter in, my dude.
Dude, that's my problem. I'll be working, and I've got a lot to get done, and I'm just go mode, you know. And then it's just like, I realize like I gotta pee, and I'm sitting there, and I gotta pee super bad. And it's like, oh, I'm just trying to finish this one last thing. That one last thing turns into another 30 minutes, and I'm stuck in the narrative like, oh, it's only been like 60 seconds. You can wait a little longer. The next thing I know, I haven't gone to the bathroom in like fucking 4 or 5 hours.
That's bad.
Yeah, it is.
Because whenever you're an old man, your bladder will no longer be strong enough to hold in the urine, and you'll just pee your pants.
I think I'm already there.
Start wearing diapers, brother.
Yeah, it's rough.
I was working with a homosexual man, and he told me that he has friends who would take road trips, and they would just drive through the night for 12 hours or 20 hours or whatever it is. They would never stop, and they'd be drinking and eating the entire time, and they don't want to stop. They don't want to get out of the vehicle, so they would wear diapers for their road trips and just relieve themselves in their diapers. I find that insane.
Can I ask? So you identified the man as a homosexual man.
Yes.
Where does the homosexual part play a role?
Because it's a fetish, baby.
Yeah, we all know them homosexuals. They just want to wear diapers.
I have no idea where the homosexual underlying tone lays, but I think it's important to know that not many straight
This wasn't
people
an
would
average
do
guy.
that. Yeah,
This wasn't an average gay man.
No, this was a big gay man.
This was a big gay man who liked diapers.
And I told him, I was like, that's crazy, dude. You shouldn't be wearing diapers
Dude, that's fucking
on a road
crazy.
trip, especially if you're a man. Just pull the car over, take a quick pee-pee for 3
Yeah,
minutes.
check
and
the
continue on.
tires. You know, you got to go out and check tire.
Take a
You gotta
knee.
kick the tires, you
Yeah.
know.
I've taken knees many times on the road.
Yeah, back when I was doing like trucking work there for a long time, like anytime I had to go to the bathroom, if there was a long stretch of highway and I had no idea where the next fucking rest stop was or gas station, and I wasn't seeing signs for one, I was pulling over on that motherfucking service road.
My favorite thing that would happen to me whenever I was driving like that is I would get out of the car, take a pee, and then continuing on for another like 10 minutes, and there's a bathroom.
Yeah, and then it's like, no. That happened to me at one time. I was hauling. This is back when I used to haul cars, and I was driving from the heart of Dallas to the other, just the other side of Shreveport in Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a 3.5 hour drive.
Yeah.
Just the other side of it. And because, the construction on all their intersecting highways there in Shreveport have been under construction for the past 20 years, and they have made no progress because it's Shreveport.
It's Louisiana, baby.
Congrats. But no, so like I would, on the way there, driving on Interstate 20 all the way to Shreveport, you'll have massive sections of just nothingness on the side of the road. And I had to poo.
Oh, hell
So
yeah.
I said, screw it. That's the one thing I try not to do on the side of the road because it requires cleanup and more physical interaction. And I was trying to avoid that. And then one day I was like, oh, I gotta poop. And this isn't wait. I couldn't wait. It was coming, dude. It was all them gas station tacos, dude.
We need a bumper here of Ben's poop breaks, Ben's poop stories.
What? It's the psychology behind it. I don't know what you're talking about. I was competing with myself, and I lost.
How long can I hold my dookie?
Yeah. So yeah, I pulled over, took a huge number 2.
Relieved yourself.
Oh yeah, and I had to like use my tire, because the buds, the spacing in between the tires of the dual axles. I had to like put my back up against the tire and like do a wall sit, And when I did it, got done, because I always carried like paper towels, toilet paper, baby wipes, key. Just so you guys know, baby wipes are clutch.
I don't want to put anything on my butthole that has the word baby in it.
That's fair. Adult wipes. So with that being said, I got done, started driving again. No joke, literally 2 exits down was this random like little cafe gas station thing. It was not a truck stop, but there was plenty, I could have parked on the service road right next to it because it has like the big shoulders and everything. I could have parked, dude. I could have used a clean, like that place is really, it was a nice establishment. Like,
Could have used a bathroom.
I could have used an actual pooper. And I just looked at it and it's just like, dude, you ever get that feeling, not of anger, like, people get mad and they have that anger brew in them. This was just violence. That's all that was growing in me. There wasn't even, it skipped the angry part to get violent. It just went to violence. I'm like, I don't even feel anger right now, but I just need to break something physically. Oh, look, a cockroach. You're going to die now. Just because, like, I'm not going to lie. I don't know if everyone's ever done it before, but
See, Ben, there's
if you get caught by a state trooper as a truck driver taking a poo on the side of the road, 1, you're getting a fucking ticket. But 2, since you have a commercial license, they hold you at a higher standard, and they apply that to literally everything. So if you get a public, indecent public of or whatever, it's
indecent exposure.
It's indecent exposure, but there's a public's in there, the way they term it on
Public indecency
in the court. Yeah, public indecency and exposure, and they like slash it out, of different things. The ticket you would get on that as a commercial driver is like 3 times the cost of a regular person with a Class C license. Oh, I'm not kidding. They do. And it's just like, that's what makes me scared, because I've had a state trooper pull up on me before while going number 2. Luckily, where he pulled up, he couldn't like see on my side because it was kind of like a curve, right, of a shoulder. So my truck was kind of turned. So when he pulled up, like this, I'm on the other side with a trailer in the way, but I can see through where the 5th wheel connects to the trailer. I can see that this motherfucker just pulled up, and I was like, gotta, come on, get it, because it's like I couldn't pinch it because of where it was in the poo process. It was like, if I pinch it, I'm gonna end up pooping myself while talking to
Ben,
you.
this is the second time in an episode today that you have talked about killing something. Flaying a man, killing a cockroach.
We already know. Well, now we know who I am.
What's the psychology about pooping on the side of the hight? Did you think that you were in Denver?
Did you
think that you were in San Francisco?
That is the most free thing you can do. like legitimately, it. As long as you don't leave trash behind.
My favorite pooping story is whenever I was camping in the middle of the woods in Colorado, and it was, I think, 2 a.m, and I had to go, brother. I had to go. It was now or never, you know what I'm saying? And I couldn't make it to the bathroom they had available. So there's a tree just outside of our campsite about 15 feet away. And I just bent over on that, squatted against it, and just let the demons out.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
And the next morning we had to get a shovel and launch that thing. But
yeah, I was always a paranoid pooper while camping.
yeah.
I was always scared that there was like, those jumping spiders.
Oh my God, dude! There's a story, dude. There was a story that I read on AP News the other day.
AP News
about a guy who was in Australia and he was taking a crap in his house and he felt a horrible pain. Listen,
okay.
horrible pain on his ball sack, and he looked down to grab and like fix what's going on, and there was a viper out of his toilet had his balls in his mouth, fangs in his nutsack.
Did he lose his balls?
I don't know. I didn't read that far.
I need to know.
Yeah, dude, it was brutal.
My imagination's done the rest. You might as well cut them off.
Yeah,
You're done for.
they're gone.
You better fucking rubber band that shit like they do the bulls.
Yeah, go.
Next thing you know, you're kicking shit in your house as you're running to the ambulance. You're just like randomly dropping in the whole floors, just kicking shit. It's like, oh, China cabinet. Like, dude.
Just castrate me like a goat.
Dude. I get paranoid. I was a paranoid pooper as a kid camping because I went camping all the time.
Oh yeah.
And we would be out in the thick of it because my dad used to take us out into areas that were not like laid out campgrounds. We would go camp out in the legitimate woods.
This is what happens
in the
whenever we
heart
have
of
a
stuff.
psychology episode, take a pee break, and we come back from the bathroom and talk about bathroom things.
Yeah, dude, it's the
Psychology,
psychology of
brother.
the bathroom, dude. You never know how much you appreciate until you don't have it.
Dude, toilet and modern plumbing is the best technology ever invented, hands down. Bar
And
none.
we didn't even invent it. That shit's been around actually a while.
Bar none.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, I was a paranoid pooper, man.
Still are.
Um,
Lock the door, hold a gun while you poop. Who's coming in
I'm
here?
more
Who's
paranoid of
coming in here?
contracting some type of venereal fucking disease or something from a public bathroom now. than I
Yeah,
am
that's
anything
fair.
else.
That's fair.
I'm like, I'm not scared of what's in it. I always check that shit. I don't care what bathroom it is. I always make sure to check that rim to make sure that there's no fucking spider.
And
hooked
that's
up
why I
in there.
like Buc-ee's, my dude. Shout out to Texas Buc-ee's.
Dude, I never fear. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I do. I still make sure that seat's wiped down.
Don't fear the Buc-ee.
Yeah.
Well, they have sanitizer in there that you can squirt on towels and wipe the toilet off.
Yeah, I know.
Clean
I
that
still
up.
don't trust the sanitizer because what if someone did
Put
something
bleach
to,
in there, dude.
no. Like, what if someone got real jizzed up?
There you go. They're getting jizzed up, baby.
You know, and it's just like,
DARPA's putting something in the hand sanitizer to make my butt bigger, dude. Who needs a BBL when you got DARPA hand sanitizer, brother?
oh, dude. They
It's
call
me, Jesse Ventura.
They call it the manta ray ass. Look how flat that bitch gets.
That's Ozempic butt for you, brother.
But no, I get paranoid when I poo in the like true wilderness, mainly because of like when I was a kid, we went camping. It was I think it was Turner Falls, up there in
I know Turner Falls.
technically Oklahoma,
Yeah.
and you know it's Turner Falls is a great place to go camp.
Used to be.
Yeah, back in the '90s. But one of the terrifying things was that we went there. We were camping on Thanksgiving, and my dad decided to do a camp out for Thanksgiving.
Badass.
All
Love
week.
that.
It was awesome. So the built oven in the ground to cook the turkey and like all that stuff. But
Pilgrims.
hell yeah, dude! And it was one of the best tasting turkeys I ever had in my life. But no, when we were there, we found like because in Turner Falls you'll find like concrete structures just randomly just abandoned, and they're all crumbled, and obviously were the nature had grown over it over the past 50 years. But these are like legitimate concrete structures that were built in like the 30s and 40s. It's wild, but like they're destroyed. Some of them are partially intact, but this one it was like we found it and it was like had all this stuff grown up, vines everywhere all over it, and it was like 2 or 3 like concrete steps that go down into the ground. So it was like literally it was probably twice the size of this studio, the whole thing sticking out of the ground. It was like I would say about 15 foot roughly tall.
Wow.
But at the highest point, it was like broken like this going down. And then this is where the entrances and the walls were all broken, right? So like me and my brothers were exploring. I was like 8 years old at the time. Yeah, I was like 8. And we start to look inside this thing and we walk in. It looks clean as fuck. Like there's nothing in there. It's just what's left of a room, right? We walk in, but it's enclosed. So when you have to dip your head down because it's like was part of a staircase at one point.
That's where you found the Mothman.
Millions of spiders all above our heads, like balled up together, all up in the crevices, everywhere. Like anywhere you looked that was 10 foot or higher was just at first the ceiling. We thought it was like a moss that was on it. Nope, it was just that many spiders.
Damn.
I was scarred. I ran so hard out of there. And the worst part is that there was spiders on us. We had no idea because they were dropping from the ceiling. The moment we walked in, because I guess we disturbed them from talking, like the sound reverberating. Oh, Luckily, it was just daddy long legs.
Mm.
They can't bite you. You know, they can't.
Non-venomous, right?
Yeah. Well, no, they're
Oh well,
actually
they're
one
very
of
venomous, but they're not
the
to humans.
yeah. The
They can't
mouth is
bite you.
too small
Yeah.
to bite you. And yeah, I had like 30 daddy long legs that had fallen off the ceiling on me, and I had no idea. And because my brother saw me, he's like, "That's bad." Blah!
Reminds me of the time I went
You
cave
know?
diving, and the cave diving instructor, the guide who took us down there, was like, "All right, careful of the ceiling, it moves." And we're like, my brother and I were like, "Well, whatever. What are you talking about?" And we like scooting on our flat on our back, scooting down this like tunnel, and the ceiling was just daddy long legs the entire way through with crickets. Those like white crickets that are there as well, all funneled
Fuck.
in with it.
I don't care about daddy
It
long
was
legs, but fuck
brutal.
that.
It was brutal.
Just
dude.
them crawling on you is a fucking like, ugh.
It was bizarre. It's like it was like hair the way
Yeah.
it looked. It was creepy.
Oh yeah.
I'll never forget that little adventure we took in
Yeah.
Utah. It was fun.
I have two I have two favorite pooping stories. One is my dad's. When he
Is it
when he
the
was in
Jeep?
college.
Is one of them the Jeep?
No, that is a classic. No, it's my dad's and then my oldest son's. Whenever he decided to poop inside of a grocery store when he was like 3,
Nice.
he took his pants off. Dude, my son was very quick at that age. Like, I'm not kidding you. He could get his pants and diaper off less than a second.
Damn.
Like, I don't know how he was so good at it, but he was great at it.
Man, I missed
And
my
I was-
soundboard of your the damn expression.
Damn.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. We'll just have to clip it and then just like repeat it over and over. But yeah, no, it was just like my son decided to we were grocery shopping. This was a long time ago. And all of a sudden, because he was standing next to the cart, because I was letting him stand for a little bit, because he just wanted to stretch his legs because he didn't want to sit inside that thing anymore. And he does really good. Like, it wasn't like anything like negative. Like, he was just standing, you know. I literally turned just to grab I don't even remember what I was grabbing. One item off the shelf. I turned like this, read it. I was like, cool. Maybe 3.5 seconds. Grabbed it, turned around. He was already out of his pants and running down the aisle. And because I heard scuffling, that's why I turned around real quick. I was like, bitch, what are you doing? I turned around. Bro's running. All he has on is t-shirt. I see a shit, and I don't even know how he got off his pants without losing his shoes, but he did. His shoes were on still, and he was running as fast as he could waddle. While he was running, it was just poop coming out of his butt like paper, because his butt cheeks were clenched together from running. So it was weaving it. Like,
oh my god.
yeah, poop in aisle 6.
I used to work at a
It was a great time, dude.
I used to work at a child's amusement park when I was like 16 years old. An indoor child amusement park. It was called Planet Pizza. And it has since gone out of business.
Pizza Planet is still a thing.
That's toys. That's
from Toy Story.
Toy Story. Yeah.
But there is a Pizza Planet
So
here in Texas.
yeah, that's the one I worked at.
Oh, it's still here.
There's one in Plano. You know where the Madness Comics is now in Plano?
Yes, I love
Yeah.
that.
It used to be a indoor amusement park.
Yep.
That's the one I worked at. I will never forget the day that kids decided to have a pooping contest inside of the like play center they had.
Yeah.
They would poop at the top of the slide and then slide down their poop on
Oh.
down the slide. And there was about 4 kids that did it. It
Oh
was
my
a
gosh.
travesty, dude. It was a
Dude,
travesty.
I ain't cleaning that shit up.
I didn't do that.
If they were like, "Oh, we need employees to go in there to clean up," the slide, I would have been like, "Fuck you! You don't pay me enough for
That's
that."
almost
I'm out.
exactly what I said. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that.
I was like, nope. Consider this my resignation. Out. Like, you try to force me? Nah, I'm all right.
The ball pits, a travesty of disgust.
Oh yeah.
We would have to pick them up every night and spray them with a hose.
Yeah. When I was a mover,
Christ.
at one point I did bed bugging work, and we used to like move people across the country and stuff. And basically, we moved someone had purchased, right? So it was this weird contract job. It was for the local Air Force base there in Colorado, and they they purchased this building, and in this building there was a Chuck E. Cheese. Like, it was like a strip mall,
Mhm.
right? Like this, it had like 4 or 5 businesses on it, but they bought the entire property because it was like kind of isolated by itself outside of a whatever, because they did like rezoning, the city did. So the military was able to buy it. So the Air Force bought this property, And in these establishments, so the contract was we had to go in there, move everything out, and then move all the new shit in, right? Because they didn't care. They just want us to bring in these crates. That was the job. We moved these crates into the thing, whatever, because these crates were actually crates that you couldn't put on dollies because of how they built these crates. So it was, you had to have like a moving company.
Yeah, pick
People
'em
would
up.
physically move them. So it took like two, depending on the crate, it was a minimum of 2 people. Like it had to be because they're big crates and they all had weight to them. Like I think the lightest one was like 175 pounds.
Okay.
So you and due to how big they were, they couldn't be dragged because it would mess up the floors, all that stuff. So the way they want, and it would mess up the bottom of these containers. So we had to just go in there and clean out, like just move the stuff out and move the other stuff in. It was a weird job because normally we're not responsible for moving stuff out like that because that
Yeah.
stuff is being that's a cleanup job. That shit was getting thrown out. So why we did it, I think it's because we got the contract and they were paying a ton of money
of
on the
course they were. It's the
contract.
government.
So yeah, it was like, all right, we'll do that for you type thing. And bro, we had to. So it had a Chuck E. Cheese and then it had some other. I don't know what this establishment was. It was like a Chuck E. Cheese, but it wasn't. There's like 2 different Chuck E. Cheese type
Like a
establishments.
Dave and Buster's, if you will.
Yeah, something. It had a ball pit, and so did the Chuck E. Cheese had a ball pit. We took apart. We were taking apart that ball pit, dude, and the balls were still in the pit.
Tight.
And then like we had a couple movers start jumping into it, like trying to have fun, and I was like, I ain't jumping in that. I was like, dude, you do not have any idea what's down inside that thing, like potentially, because this place also hadn't been used in like 15 years.
I'll never forget the story of a Chuck E. Cheese that had heroin needles in it and used needles inside of it, and people were jumping in them and getting poked with these things. I'll never forget about that.
Oh yeah. And they but yeah, like we ended up when we cleaned out these pits, like throwing the stuff out. When we got those balls out, bro, there was rat poop, obviously pee stains on the balls themselves that were like halfway down, and there was like I don't even know if it was actually a diaper, but it looked like it may have been a rotted diaper that was like so soiled from like 15 years ago, and it was so soaked with pee and poop that it was just like this nasty twisted.
That's enough.
Yeah. So like these dudes jumped in that, and when they saw it, they're like, "Oh my god!" Like, and they were like freaking out. They're like, "Oh man, I'm worried about this and that." Like, I was like, because they didn't even wash their hands after being in that, and they had been touching their face, and I was just like, "Well, that's why I didn't jump in it. I figured there's probably something gross in there. This place has been abandoned for like 15 years. That was the last time it was used." I was like, I ain't going in there. What if people are squatting? Like junkies, things like that. I was worried about needles. That was the main thing on my head, at the time. But yeah, dude, I got to see that shit.
That's nasty.
And both of them were like that, and they're divided. So like, it's a different establishment. So the Chuck E. Cheese was like that, and so was that other place that was like a Chuck E. Cheese. Yeah.
Horrific.
Oh
Truly.
yeah, can't believe people. Ball pits were cool at one time.
When they're cleaned.
When they're clean, but dude, cleaning those ball pits is a bitch because you got to pull all the balls out.
Yep.
So what? You're gonna do it every day? That's why they got rid of them.
Yeah.
Because they're too hard to maintain.
Not sanitary.
Oh yeah, baby. You know you want that sanitariness.
You want to be clean and whistling up.
I wonder if people who have the ball pits that are actually kept clean. I wonder if the manager is a Sagittarius.
What does that have to do with anything?
I don't know. I'm just playing on the word with sanitarius.
I hate you.
Nothing we say makes sense. But with that being said, yes, now you know more about yourself. Congrats.
And he has a fun stories at the end of it.
Yeah, I like my dad's poop story. My dad's poop story is hilarious.
Let's say that for another time. Huh?
No.
Okay,
I
we're giving
gotta
now?
say,
We're giving
I
now?
said the other one. This is surprise. My dad played, college football. He played like college and pro rugby back in the day.
And played the shuttlecock too, right? For badminton.
What? What?
We played with the shuttlecock for badminton, right?
Why not?
Yeah.
Sure. So,
Shout out to all my badminton heads out there. You know what a
Yeah.
shuttlecock is, Betty.
badmintons. So
I call them Betty. I don't know what that is.
I don't know what it is either.
Betty.
Buddy. So yeah, so what happened was that they gave my dad, his coaches, right? This is in his football, college football years. So he was given They were giving everybody racks of bananas. Right.
Delicious.
My dad thought that his coach said, because my dad was like 19 or at the time or something like that. He got given a whole rack of bananas. A rack of bananas is roughly 72 bananas.
That's a lot of bananas.
Yeah. So when they were given these racks, everyone got a rack of bananas. When he was given it, my dad thought that they said, you have to eat all these over, like, basically you have like 4 or 5 days to eat all of these bananas. What they were meaning was, hey, we're going to give you a rack of bananas. We want you to freeze them in your dorm, because like their dorms had like these these big deep freezers. So what he was supposed to do was take out what he needed for the week and then like basically isolate these other ones in this like freeze pack whatever thing. And they gave him all the stuff for it. But like, you know, in the dorms. But my dad misunderstood them, and he thought they were saying, hey, you need to eat all of these by this date.
Now that's
which is like 4 or 5 days.
That's a grind mentality right there, brother. Eat them all now.
Yeah. So my dad was like, how am I supposed to eat 72 bananas? And that like, I would have to eat like 10, like, you know, at least like 8 bananas per meal that he was having. So he did. He like forced himself to eat all these bananas. And then he said by the time he got done eating, he didn't even make it like 3 or 4 days in. He didn't eat all 72.
There's no way.
No, he did not eat them all, but he ate like over half of them. He ate a shitload. And on day number 3, he was constipated from eating so many bananas. And then he said he was constipated for like almost a total of like 7 days. And then one day at practice, they were doing sled work where, you know, you hit the sled and you have to push sled. And it was individual sled work, so they were making one person be center across a sled of 5 dummies. So you hit the center one, you have to push the whole sled. My dad said he got down, ready to go. He was feeling good, whatever. And then he said he went and hit, and he said that the moment he made contact with the pad, he froze. Didn't even push the pad. The moment he started making contact, he goes, oh, stops. And he's in his, you know, position still of like down low, hitting and pressing upwards on the dummy. And he said he stopped, and then his coach just started berating him, going like, Groter, what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Like, just railing into him for not moving the sled, like just stopping. Well, then all of a sudden, while this is happening, my dad said all of a sudden, he said he just couldn't move. It was like he froze. And he said, next thing you know, he just started feeling this warm sensation running down his legs. And then, of course, everyone saw it because he was wearing white pants, like white, practice pants. And it was pure brown liquid, just pure water, just running out of him all the way down his legs into his cleats. And of course, a coach was like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? And he was like, oh, get out of here. Get to the locker room. Get in that shower. But it was like, my dad said it was like 4 football fields to the locker room.
God.
He said that he just waddled the whole way back, and he said that it kept running the entire time. And he said that he got a nickname for like a year called Squishy Foot because every step he took was because it was filling up his cleats and squirting out the top where his ankles were.
My fucking
Oh, it ran
God.
nonstop. It was like going up to a faucet and not doing it full blast, but just slowly turning it towards a steady small stream. And that's all it was. He said that he sat in the shower. He literally just full gear, never took his gear off, just sat, like literally went in the shower and just stood, like, I don't even think he said he sat down. He basically just went and stood in the shower. He said that he was in the shower for over 2 hours until it stopped. It was just constant. Never once had like a hiccup. It just constant until it stopped.
And that's why we have a water problem in society nowadays. Your dad shit for so long that he wasted all the water.
It's our cleaning materials. That's why they put fluoride in there now. It was the only way to purge out.
Oh, dude, there's a new study that came out that fluoride over the long usage in sink water lowers your IQ.
Dirt. We knew it, and here I am.
Here he is, everybody, ladies and
It's
gentlemen.
not working.
We're having technical.
There we
it
go. Hey. Yeah, that's why they.
Put shit in the water,
No
brother.
wonder. See, here I am telling people like, "Oh, I drank out of the garden hose in my day. You freaking drink that shit. Or you and your filtered water." Everybody's all about drinking water out of the bottles and the filtrations. I'm all like, back in my day, we football practice, they just strung out a garden hose to a PVC pipe with holes drilled in it, and it made a fountain.
We sucked it out of the teat.
Yeah, dude, straight, dude. They say back in my day, our water was so pure, it's like drinking water straight from the tit itself of nature. And we did. Because, dude, we were all up there like pigs in a trough. Like, dude, there was all those kids up there, man.
Been
The
there,
other kids,
done that. Yeah,
dude, there were some kids that were basically making out with the freaking. No, they like put their mouths on. They're like, oh. I'm like, oh, we know your future.
Clip it. Clip it.
We know your future, dude. And yes, some of them did turn out to be gay later in life. And it explains so much how they drink water from that PVC pipe. They're like, this is the true me. And I'm all like, I'm over there just like, I'm keeping like a few inch distance.
You're laying on the ground, letting it sprinkle over your face.
Just flop down, like rip my helmet off from practice, lay down like, it's like someone put some food dye in there, put some Gatorade through it, and make sure it's yellow.
Now we're talking business, dude. How come no one's put like a Gatorade water fountain yet?
Mr. Deeds did.
They did do that.
Well, no, Mr. Deeds' dad did. It was fruit punch. Hell yeah, dude. Hawaiian punch, dude. I love me some Hawaiian. Dude, if I was a multi-millionaire, I would have a Hawaiian punch water fountain.
That's what you would do?
Why not? If I want to get, we could literally name it the Cavity Station.
Could you imagine?
Like,
let's go to let's go to the cavity fountain.
Wait, what were you about to ask though?
Could you imagine the smell of that? The stink of the fountain. Like it's like a
fruity deliciousness.
It's like a fountain in the center of your house, like a water fountain that's like beautiful and displays beautiful. It's like blood red flowing. It smells like sugar and chlorine.
Dude,
you have to sanitize it.
Yeah, I would say I don't see that thing working out. Like all the inner workings of the
It'll
water
get clogged.
fountain. Yeah, it would be. Oh, jeez. I think the thing's dying. But no, I would have to. Could you imagine the maintenance on that? You'd have to flush those all the.
That's what you use
pipes and
fluoride
lines.
for, dude. You put fluoride in the fountain, brother.
I don't think you should have a right of say. You shouldn't be allowed to vote. You shouldn't be allowed to do anything unless we know you've been drinking that fucking tap water as a child. That's how we know. It's like, you got that fluoride, you're retarded. All right. You can vote.
You can go to Arkansas, look at all the fluoride mouths. It's beautiful up there.
Oh, dude, that's not fluoride, that's meth.
Brother, it's the water.
I always wondered, what would happen if you mixed the two? What if you just put meth into the water streams?
People would be fucking going,
Small
dude.
amounts, dude. Small amounts. Over time, we would evolve to it. Can you imagine how productive you could be if you're always just go, 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 go?
Never sleeping.
Just your child came out of the womb. Just
little gremlin.
It's literally Jack from The Incredibles when he turns into the demon. That's all it would be. Like, explains so much about my youngest son.
Oh. We're calling
I made sure to only allow his mother to drink fluoridated tap water. And that way, when he came out, he was like, "Rah!"
You fed him meth-contaminated tap water.
No,
Allegedly.
allegedly. But do you have any thoughts, Evan?
No, my brain is an empty spider
I'm
web.
glad you went that way because that's how I was meaning it. As in, like, oh, you have no thoughts? Are you derp?
I am a robot. I drink fluoride water. I have low IQ.
ChatGPT.
Yeah,
ChatGPT.
I think it's time we cut this episode to an
I
end.
will, but I do have a a thing that I'm going to read, and I would like you to keep talking for a moment while I pull it up.
Oh.
Cool. Final thought sessions. Evan's special 60-second hour.
My 60-second hour? Oh, shit.
You got 6 seconds to go through in an hour.
My final thoughts on all of the things that we talked about is poop is funny, bathroom is important, sleep is vital if you are a pussy. Make sure that you are striving to be better than the next person. Keep an eye out for your family and your friends and relatives. Say you love your neighbor, say you love your friends, tell everybody how you feel about them because it is important that they know that because you never know when the last time you're going to see them is. Work hard, strive to be better. That's pretty much what my overall goal is in this episode and life. So, hey, there you go.
Yeah. I will say this. If life ever gives you lemons, squeeze the shit out of those motherfuckers. Make an alcoholic margarita, baby.
Yeah.
And then flip off the bird to life for making you have to do work. That is our little life advice
If life
section.
gives you potatoes, ferment them and make them vodka, baby.
Oh, hell yeah. You know, also treat every day like it's your last day. Party like a rock star. That's what I like to say to people. Eat like a pig and leave behind a hot mess for someone else to fucking clean up. Do that every day. You'll have a very productive life. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Are you aware of this?
Wayne Gretzky said that.
Yeah. So aim low. Next life advice. Don't sweat the small stuff, my guys. Hell, don't sweat the big stuff either.
Yeah.
You know? So screw them and please yourself instead. Congrats. You're always going to walk away happy and euphoric afterwards. But then you're going to have that post-climactic clarity. And then you'll regret a lot of other things. But at least this time it's with your hands. Next life advice. Life is a bitch, without a doubt. But so are you.
Was that aimed at me? How fucking dare
Evan,
you?
come on. I would never do that. Yeah. I think that's all the life advice I've jotted down. Oh, yeah. Also, when in doubt, just remember you cannot please everyone. Not even yourself.
Mm. Is that it?
I thought that was great life advice. That was my life corner. I wish I had been better about getting the camera over to you to capture your reactions of your disappointed stepdad emotionless face.
That would have been a great time to switch camera.
Fuck. Yeah. No, you gotta drop the eyebrows a little bit. There you go. Look at that stepdad with the stepdad beard, stepdad hat, shirt.
Nose, eyeballs.
The actual label of a stepdad. You've got it all. You got it all. But with that being said, that was my life advice corner. I think it was very good life advice, if you ask me.
Take all the shots you can, but aim low.
No. All the shots you don't take, you know, you miss 100% of all the shots you don't take.
So aim low.
So aim low. Don't do it very often.
Keep your keep your standards low and
Yeah.
hit them all.
Listen, not everyone's James Cameron and can raise the bar. We're not all that great. James Cameron is a god among insects.
He
apparently.
goes low. What are you talking about?
He goes real low.
Mariana Trench,
but
brother.
but he goes low to raise that bar. He's going down to find the bar that everyone else lives at, and he's trying to lift it up with his homemade submarines that he does a really good job at doing.
All right.
You know? Because, you know, none of his have imploded. Unlike the Titanic submersible excavation that happened where the controller disconnected.
My life advice.
Because they forgot to put batteries in it.
My life advice is tell everybody that you love them. Live every moment like it's your last. Work fucking hard. Save your money. Invest.
Not with this economy, you're not. So your life advice is not applicable right now because inflation.
Nah, you can still invest.
Can you?
Yeah, buy NVIDIA. It'd be fine. Wait, I'm
Invest.
not a financial advisor.
Invest.
Yeah. Doesn't necessarily mean spend your money in something. Invest in your time. Invest.
I invest in the food because that becomes an ingest.
What are you, a fucking poet? What are you doing over here? You rhyming?
We need to make a new crest.
A coat of arms?
It's a very hard test,
To find,
but we know it's for the best.
even though we
You got anything? Come on.
continue
I
to
felt
never
like,
rest.
oh my God, in my head, I just went to Jurassic Park. The old man, where he's like, push, push. When the raptors be born, he's like, push, push. That's what was me in my head just now. I was like waiting for that
Push,
rhyme to
Evan.
drop. It's like push.
I did drop it, but you ignored it. But anyway,
I did drop it, but you ignored it. Everything I say about you, I mean about myself.
Thank you all for joining us today. I love you all very much, and I love you, Ben. Make sure everybody enjoys the rest of their week and their life, and we'll talk to you later, yeah?
I was aiming low just now. Sorry. See? I didn't miss a shot because I didn't take it. What the fuck? Yeah. Anyways, we'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye. Hey.